CEO's shocking interview test. What happened next will restore your faith in love. Three men walked into a job interview for a powerful executive position. But instead of asking about skills or experience, the beautiful young CEO gave them one shocking order: remove your pants. Two obeyed instantly. But one man hesitated, and that decision would change his life forever. What happened next will leave you speechless. David was a 30-year-old professional, smart, hardworking, and deeply in love with his wife, Sarah. When a large multinational company announced they were hiring a chief operating officer, David applied. Without hesitation, on the big day, he dressed in his sharpest suit ready to impress. Inside the glass-walled boardroom sat the CEO, a stunning, white-skinned young woman, barely 25, known for her fierce intelligence and unshakable confidence. She had built the company from the ground up, and people said she was tough, maybe even ruthless. David walked in along with two other candidates. They expected questions about leadership, finance, and strategy. But instead, the CEO leaned back in her chair, crossed her arms, and said, "Gentlemen, remove your pants." The room went dead silent. The first two candidates exchanged confused glances, but after a moment they reluctantly obeyed, trying to hide their embarrassment. David sat frozen in disbelief. The CEO's eyes locked on him. "You too. Remove your pants." David hesitated, but eventually, still feeling humiliated, he complied. She pointed at him and said firmly, "You're hired." After the interview, David's head was spinning. Why would she choose him? Was it some kind of weird power game? He stepped out of the building. His friend Mark, who worked in the company, pulled him aside. "I know why you got hired," Mark whispered. David raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" She asks all her COO candidates to visit her at home twice a week. Let's just say it's not about business. David frowned. "I'm married. I love my wife. I'm not doing anything like that." Mark just shook his head. "It's the CEO's requirement. No one refuses her. If you do, your career here is over before it even starts." David went home troubled. He had worked hard his whole life to get this far, and this job could change his future. But compromising his marriage was something he swore he'd never do. Still, curiosity got the better of him, and the next day, he went to the address she had sent. David arrived at the CEO's luxurious penthouse at sunset. The city skyline glowed in the distance, but his focus was on the front door. He rang the bell. The door opened. And standing there wasn't the CEO, it was his wife. Sarah, pregnant and glowing, looked at him in surprise. "David, what are you doing here?" His stomach dropped. He couldn't even speak. The CEO appeared from behind Sarah, smiling calmly. "Oh, I see you've met my best friend, Sarah." David's heart pounded. You know each other?" "Yes," Sarah said softly. "We've known each other for years. She's been like a sister to me." David's mind raced. Was this some sort of twisted trap? "I think you should go home," Sarah said gently. "We'll talk later." David left that night with his decision made. He couldn't work for someone who put him in this position. The next morning, David walked into the CEO's office, resignation letter in hand. "I can't take the job," he said. "I value my marriage more than any position you can offer." The CEO leaned back, expression unreadable. "You realize," she said, "if you leave, I can make sure you never get another job in this city." David stood his ground. "Then I'll find work somewhere else. My wife's trust is worth more than a paycheck." The CEO studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled faintly. "But what if I double your salary? What if I make you CEO? All you have to do is make me happy tonight. Come to my place at 6 p.m. David stared at her. This was temptation in its purest form. Money, power, and prestige. all in exchange for one betrayal. "I'll be there," he said finally. At 6 p.m., David arrived at the CEO's penthouse. The air was tense. She stepped forward, close enough that he could smell her perfume. "David," she whispered, "are you ready to make me happy?" He shook his head. "No, I'm sorry. I love my wife too much to ever betray her. I can't do this." The CEO's expression changed instantly. Her serious mask broke into a wide smile. Suddenly, the door opened and the entire senior staff of the company walked in, clapping and cheering. Sarah stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "I knew you'd pass the test." David blinked in shock. "Test?" The CEO nodded. "We run loyalty tests for leadership positions. If a man will betray his wife for money or power, he'll betray this company too. We need people who are unshakable in their values." She extended her hand. "Congratulations, David, you're our new CEO." The room erupted in applause. David took his wife's hand, smiling with relief. He had kept his integrity, and it had given him more than he ever expected. True loyalty can't be bought. A man who loves his wife will protect that bond at all costs. If this story inspired you, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes in loyalty over everything.